What's up, YouTube? The uploader has said that I have the right to more than 15 minutes now. I don't know if that means unlimited or 30 minutes, whatever, but I guess we'll find out at the end of this video. So, of course, this is my predictions for UFC 125, Silva versus Belfort. The first big fight on the main card is Ryan Bader versus Jon Jones. Now, what we have to do before we make predictions is look at each of the fighters, see what they've done, who they beat, and how, and the sort. I would like to give big credit to the website that I'll put in the description for putting up free MMA videos that have allowed me to have what I say right on my mind so I can say it at the time. Thank you guys. Okay, Ryan Bader and Jon Jones. We'll start off with Ryan Bader. Very good hands, very solid hands. Of course, no one should doubt about his wrestling. But what I think people don't see is that level of technicality in his stand-up. He has a great chin, very, very good footwork, which people say, he has good footwork, but no, he has good footwork, okay? And, of course, he's very explosive, but something I've also seen is, for example, in his Keith Jardine fight, if he can't get the double leg or any other type of move, and he's tied up with you in any way, he will instantly be able to go over to something else, and I think that gives him a big advantage, because it's kind of unorthodox. Good conditioning, of course, and he's undefeated. He probably should have lost the fight with a little nog, but still, judges will be judges. Don't leave it up to them. Next is Johnny Bones Jones. Now, when you take a look at Jon Jones, he's a very exciting fighter. He's done things that we've never seen done in MMA. But let's look at him first before I really talk about the two of them and how they match up. Of course, we have a fellow very good wrestler. We have the fact that he is very athletic. The longest reach in MMA, 84.5. He has like 84.5 inches of reach. And Stefan Struve is 6'11", and he hadn't had that, so yeah, he has a pretty, he's like, what's his name, Joe Rogan had said at his Vladimir Matyushenko or some fight, he has Anderson Silva's build. He's like meant for MMA. So, and he's flat-footed. So he has the physical advantages as well as some very good technical skills. He has, he's very respectful on top of that, which I like. And he was able to learn how to do a very good Harai Goshi on Brandon Vera at the very beginning of their fight off of a YouTube video, which, to be able to not only relate to that kind of thing in judo, where even half an inch will double the energy you need to throw a guy, and I'm a judo guy, so I know. He's a good learner, too. He's a fast learner. I see that in him. So, now let's look at how they compare. The guys that Jon Jones is beating compared to Ryan Bader, while they have had an equal amount of fights, I actually believe their record should be reversed, because Jon Jones' one defeat was to Matt Hamill, and that was from a disqualification after kicking his ass for 3 rounds. He does the 12 to 6 o'clock elbow, which are illegal, and Matt Hamill couldn't fight anymore, and they gave him a DQ. So, and on the other hand, I believe that, because I was actually there for the event, I think it was Chuck Liddell, Rich Franklin off the top of my head, but I don't know, I believe that Ryan Bader lost that one, but whatever, he's awesome because we have the same name. My point is that Jon Jones hadn't fought the caliber of opponents that Ryan Bader has, nor has he fought someone the caliber of Ryan Bader. So what I think I see happening is, either way, I see some kind of a huge upset happening. They're both very good. They're fast finishers, very explosive. So I don't see the fight going the distance. I see it getting finished by someone. And if that's the case, it's probably going to be Jones because of the good chin of Ryan Bader. Really, also it depends on the game plan of each man and their mindset, because when you look at them as two great ground and pound wrestlers with good stand-up abilities too, if John Jones takes Bader down, and them both being very tenacious, at the same time they're both very explosive with a lot of power and a lot of finishing power. I do not see this fight going the distance, and that would mean it has to be finished. And if it's going to be finished by someone, I would have to say Bader, because of Bader's great chin and ability to go backwards to avoid things, like the way Machida does. He can go back and then come forward with an attack and surprise guys. What I see that could be a problem for either fighter is their game plan and their mindset. If Bader comes in trying to swing for the fences and Jones sees an opportunity and gets a takedown, I see Ryan Bader getting struck on the ground, and the way that John Jones does ground and pound, all it takes is a few hits and that's it, because he doesn't just hit you, he knows where to hit you. If you'll notice in his Brandon Vera fight, he hit him right on the eye socket, and I'm pretty sure he got a dislocated orbital bone or a broken orbital bone, and that means you're blind until they unbreak it or fix it, whatever you want to say. On the other hand, Ryan Bader has the ability to, I believe, beat him on the stand-up. The stand-up game of John Jones is highly based on either clinching up, and I see Ryan Bader with the advantage in the clinch, or doing the spinning back fists or spinning roundhouses, you know, the kind of crazy stuff that he does. And while they are very flashy, if Ryan Bader ends up getting a takedown off of that, it's going to end up in a position worse than guard. He's probably going to get slammed straight to side control, and then he's going to be in a lot of trouble, because he'll have either given up his back, or he'll have given himself momentum spinning one way, and if you take advantage of that, you can not only do a hell of a slam, but end up in a pretty bad pin. I have Ryan Bader winning by way of TKO referee stoppage in the third round, probably due to ground strikes. But if it ends up in a wrestling match, I believe it could go either way. But Ryan Bader probably is a better wrestler. Having said that, what I see him having to watch out for is the judo of John Jones, because if he actually has a formal coach now, and I believe he does, then that could be trouble, because it could really surprise someone when, whoa, I'm being slammed on my ass from the clinch all of a sudden. How did this happen? Because I do see Bader having the Muay Thai advantage. Okay, next is Rich Franklin versus Forrest Griffin. Let's get started on that. So, Rich Franklin, of course, he has very well-rounded skills. I think when everyone really started realizing, hey, this is what he can do, is when he knocked out Chuck Liddell with a punch up against the cage. 5 seconds left in the round, in the first round. It was a first round knockout. I was sitting there watching it, and the funny thing is, I was the only one that thought Rich was gonna win. Well, guess what? Anyway, yeah. So he has good wrestling, good stand up, solid hands, more than solid. He knocked out Chuck Liddell. I see Rich Franklin, obviously tenacious. He also, and this is questionable, because aside from Anderson Silva, his guys that he's fought that have made Muay Thai their career aren't very many, I believe. I know that Rich Franklin will probably have trouble with good Muay Thai guys when it gets clinched up, but I don't see that happening with Forrest Griffin. Of course, very tenacious, lots of stamina, can definitely take a hit, and he has that fear no man attitude. He fought Anderson Silva again, got dominated, and I bet you still ain't scared of Anderson. He had to get his entire face reconstructed by Anderson, and he's still probably ain't scared of him. Forrest Griffin, let's look at him. Once again, good hands, good tenacity. There's one thing that Forrest has that Anderson doesn't. Actually, two things. That Rich doesn't. The first thing that he has over him is the greatest fight in MMA history, which is what pretty much brought the UFC back to mainstream again, and MMA in general in the United States, which was versus Stephan Bonnar. And I saw that fight once, and I saw it 3 more times. I could not stop watching that non-stop action. What he also has is the most embarrassing knockout in MMA history, which Anderson may have, bent over and raped him. Yeah. So they pretty much have the same strengths. Now, the way I see this happening is the same. I see it going the distance, but we're probably going to have another Stephan Bonnar, Forrest Griffin on our hands. Funny how all the hype fights always turn out to be the bad ones, but I have a feeling that, because not only is it that, but they're both, they want to please the crowd. So, at the end of the day, for the fact of Forrest Griffin is a future Hall of Famer, he has a knockout over Chuck Liddell. I just believe that the ability of his to take hits is going to be greater than Force, and I don't believe that he'll actually absorb that many hits, though, because, like Force actually admitted in one of his interviews, Force tries to stay inside of his opponent's zone where his opponent has over him. Rich tries to take it to the zone where his opponent has over him. I see that making the difference in the judges' eyes, but it's going to be interesting to see what area does Rich believe he has over Franklin, and what area does Franklin believe Rich has over him. So now we're going to move on to the main event. Now we have the main event of the evening, which is, of course, Vitor Belfort versus Anderson Silva. Let's get started. Vitor Belfort. Fast hands. Now, when he came into MMA, everyone thought he was going to be a grappler. He has the fastest hands in MMA history. Everyone thought he was going to, because he was a very well-respected Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Well, guess what? He comes out against, what's his face? I think it was Yushin Okami or something. Blast him, just these fast hands. Just natural speed. And on top of that, he knows how to train for speed, which amplifies it. Like me. Fail. He has, of course, very good jiu-jitsu, very good hands, very fast finisher, decent conditioning and cardio. He underwent I think he had some kind of trouble with his, I don't know, it was similar to what Brock has, some kind of intestinal thing, I think. And it'll be interesting to see how it is when he comes back from that. Now, let's look at Anderson Silva. First off, Muay Thai. There is nothing that, you can say that'll define exactly how good of a striker Anderson Silva is. First off, head movement is great. Second, he can make any strike hurt. He can hit you with his shoulder. He can hit you with his nose and make it hurt, okay? Of course, everyone knows he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. implements good defensive jiu-jitsu, either to save a fight or to fight off his back if he fights a wrestler. This was displayed against guys such as Chael Sonnen, Dan Henderson, etc. So just in case that he didn't do what he wants to do, he can at least finish it by submission. He has a judo black belt, taekwondo black belt, and a high-level skill in Muay Thai. He's got some of the highest level competition under his belt. One other thing to remind, I think, was Yushin Okami as well. He actually, I think it was from guard or half guard. While trying to go for an armbar, his heel caught Yushin's chin from inside his guard. He knocked him out from bottom, and then got disqualified for an illegal kick, because Yushin was a downed opponent, because his knee was on the floor in his guard. Now let's look at stylistically, how do they match up? First, let's look at their advantages. Vitor, better jiu-jitsu, youngest guy to ever fight in MMA, 2 title belts. Vitor probably has better jiu-jitsu and better game on top and more submission defense, to where Anderson can't lock in any submission if he can't finish him on the stand-up. Better chin than Anderson, and of course we know better boxing. Now Anderson, of course has better Muay Thai. Anderson has a better clinch. Anderson has probably more experience with top level guys than Vitor Belfort. So let's look at how exactly I think it's going to happen. With Vitor's skill, Anderson's been a great champion, but I see this either being a third or second round knockout from Belfort, probably due to a punch, because Anderson has definitely had his chin tested, but not nearly as much as Belfort. And on top of that, the only counter to the speed and footwork that Belfort brings is speed and footwork. If someone gets an angle over here, and you're right here, well, guess what? The only way to counter that is to turn and face them in the same way. Well, guess what? Boom, boom, boom. You just got hit on the chin 3 times. Guess what? With Vitor Belfort, boom, boom, boom. You just got hit in the chin 12 times. Natural speed is very hard to deal with, but on top of that, I just believe that he's a higher caliber of a striker, and if Anderson can't cinch in a submission, which against Vitor, it's going to be hard. The other thing that we have to look at is they're like brothers. I'm pretty sure they both came from Black House. They both train at the same gym, probably not anymore. They're like brothers. They actually call each other and chat with each other, used to be on a daily basis. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be determined by, which man actually wants to put that aside for a minute and give it his all. But if both of them do, then I have Vitor Belfort winning by way of, like I said, knockout in the second or third. And if I can only choose one, I'm going to say knockout in the third. Because Anderson's not going to be able to use head movement like he did with Forrest Griffin, Rich Franklin against him. And he's not going to be able to have any area of the ground game over him. So, thanks for watching. Rules on commenting on what your predictions, if you want to do that. First off, do not troll. Second, state your opinion as an opinion, not a fact. Anderson Silva is going to kick his ass. Okay, that's an opinion until fight night, okay? So, and second, give a reason why. Third, be specific. Like how they have it noted down on sites like Wikipedia, SureDog, MMAnews.com, etc. You don't have to put down the time. If I have to choose a time in the third round, I'm going to say like halfway through, 2 minutes, 30 seconds probably. You gotta have who's going to win, what the official call is going to be, what it's gonna be by, and I'm gonna say KO by a punch, what it's gonna be, what round it's gonna be in, and you don't have to include the time, but you know. So, thanks for watching, once again. This has been MMA Ninjutsu, and proud to be representing Judo, and proud to be representing the Czech Republic. One last word of advice. Don't with Fedor Emelianenko.